My name is Danny Podolsky, and I'm joined once again with Damon Jackson. He's set to return on January 14th against Dan Ige. Damon, thank you so much for taking the time.
For sure, man. Yeah, appreciate me on.
And just first off, we got to talk about that last performance. Knocking out Pat Sabatini the way you did, um, and an emotional performance for you. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. No, it was nice to have a little bit of a game plan. We just went over that. We were going over that in the back about throwing those center line attacks. Either throwing the knee or that front kick, and it was just nice to get out there and actually land a clean shot like that. So it was good. Get in there, get out. It was nice.
And I know it was an emotional fight for you with the loss of your brother. And I want to ask you, are we keeping the nickname for that fight? I know you were Action
Yeah,
Jackson fight in honor of him.
yeah,
Are we keeping that?
yeah. Keeping it for sure.
And then just coming off of that fight, did you know you were gonna get top 15, and how did the fight with Dan Ige come together?
I was actually asking for the fight to happen like in December. I wanted to get on that last pay-per-view card on the 10th, and I was really asking for someone, and it was either going to be Danny Ige, Julian Rosa, Alice Caceres, Sadiq Yusuf, and so I couldn't get my manager to tell me one or the other. So I started messaging all of them, and I messaged them all, and I was just like, hey, love to get one more in this year. If you guys are down, let me know. And I messaged each one of them, and Dan was the only one that really responded. So we got it lined up quick, and they couldn't get us on the December card, so they pushed us to that January card. But I messaged him, and he was cool about it. We went to Sean and made the matchup.
And does that add any more pressure to you knowing that is a ranked opponent? Easily the biggest fight of your career, I'd say, in terms of the UFC.
Yeah.
And if you win, you're in the top 15.
I wouldn't say any extra pressure or anything. It's just, I put that pressure on myself every fight as going out there performing and doing the right things and making sure that I'm prepared. That's the biggest thing of the hour that I get scared from is if I'm prepared or not. And him he's just another dude. He's another dude in the way, and I got to get past him to get to where I want to be. And I like the fight a lot, man. It's a tough fight, but I like it a lot.
Have you gotten to watch any of his training footage, and what sticks out to you and what gives you the advantage over him?
I think I've definitely watched a lot of his stuff. He's a tough fighter. He's very well rounded. So I've got my work cut out as far as like, wrestling's got to be on point. Jiu-jitsu's got to be on point. And then striking his striking is just through the roof. So I've been doing a lot of defensive work on everything and really trying to work on my wrestling, make sure it's on point. And I think if that's on point and everything else goes as planned, I don't take a lot of damage and it's gonna be a tough fight though.
And so, talk to me about your long term plans for 2023. Obviously, it's going to start hopefully for you with a win over Dan Ige. If all goes well and you win that fight, what's next from there?
I'm asking for another matchup as soon as possible. So it's up to Sean Shelby to make up his mind where he wants me to be, like what fighter he wants me to fight. So if I'm there and I'm always ready to go, I think that they feed you as much as you want. So if you're wanting to fight often, you're gonna fight. And so being in that top 15 is tricky for sure because people just don't fight as often. So I would like to, get past this fight, and then I would like to, get a hold of someone right away and start making the matchup.
And I know, so you're from Austin, Texas, training out of Fortis. Sorry, no, you're from Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Dallas. UFC is going to San Antonio, same state. Are you trying to get on that card that's around March?
When is that?
It's in late March.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that would be money. I didn't know they were coming here that soon. I was hoping to get on that Dallas card short notice last year, and just no one got hurt. And then there was actually a 55er that dropped out, and I was trying to step in on that, and it was Drew Dober's opponent, maybe. I don't know. Somebody got hurt, and I was trying to step in, but it just didn't work out. But I would love to fight the Dallas card for sure, or
Mhm.
Texas.
Yeah, and so I know because every fight since the pandemic for you has been at the Apex, including
Yeah.
this one. Is that starting to feel like home, or is it frustrating not being in front of the
No,
fans?
I mean, there's there's pros and cons to it for sure, but like you're right there by the PI, so the weight cuts are easier. The traveling from venue to weight cut to your hotel, it's all pretty easy there. I would just like to have the energy a little different. If there was some way that we could get more people in there, it'd be nice. But really, just having the fans around, I miss that for sure. I'm definitely ready for a pay per view fight or like something with it's a different crowd, different energy for sure.
And you have some teammates who are on this card, notably Jeff Neal. He's fighting
Yeah.
Shavkat Rakhmonov. That's a super tough fight and seemingly a fight no one wants. I would love to get your thoughts on that fight and what it's like seeing him training.
Oh man, yeah. Jeff's a tough dude, man. He can hang with the best, and it's cool to see him the way he goes through camp and everything. It's like when you have a teammate on the same card as you, you have a different energy, different feel for sure for the card, the build up, everything. It's a little different. And so with him being, that main or co-main event spot, I think it's cool because it's like, UFC vet comes to our gym and they're doing all this stuff, and it's like I'm right there. I'm like, in the next fight, I could easily be, co-main or main event. So it's cool to see the build up of all the big name fighters at our gym.
And you have another teammate, Abdulrazaq Hassan. He's also at Fortis, right?
Not really. Not like he came here a while back, but no, it's just me and Jeff on there.
Okay, got it. And I know he's two weight classes up from you, but have you gotten to train with Jeff at all, or just sort of off each other?
Not really. I don't really go live with him. Yeah, because we have different practice with that weight class chain. Like it's like 55 and down has a practice, and then 70 and up has a practice. So, for the most part, we don't really train together like that. But like I've learned so much from him just with his stand up and his movement and stuff. He'll come to practice every day, and before we start practice, he does like 20, 30 minutes of shadow boxing. And I've learned a lot from just watching that and doing some of the stuff he does. It's definitely you catch on for sure.
And so one other thing I would love to ask you about, because we discussed a while back, you were at one point set to fight Derek Minner. He's
Yeah.
now at the center along James Krause of, a gambling controversy. I'd love to get, if you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it.
Oh man, I feel bad for. I don't know what the situation was honestly, so to speak on it would be, I shouldn't be doing that a whole lot. But I feel bad because I know James and I know Derek and I know they have families and they have kids, and it's like it sucks that they did something that's stupid. But I hate to see them get in so much trouble and see them lose so much because it's like you got a family, you got to understand, like, no matter what he did, he's still going to lose time with his family and lose those things and to provide for the families and stuff. And it's just, it's frustrating for sure because you don't want to see that in your sport. But, I can't be angry at him it's just like, it's really dumb. It was just a dumb move on both of them. It really frustrates me to see that James Krause, as long as he's been in the sport, to see him kind of like slip up that big and really just kind of put himself in a bad position. So hopefully somehow, some way they can figure out something and not have to go to prison. But it sounds like it's coming down pretty hard on him. So, but I've always had that respect for Krause. And, Derek's another fighter, so I have respect for him. But it sucks to see because I know they have families, man.
So, what is your relationship like with Krause? Is he someone you just talked to, or do you have a real friendship with him?
James Krause was actually the guy that I actually started training with whenever I was in Missouri wrestling. I trained at his gym in Kansas City because it was the only thing available. So like I lived an hour and a half away, and I had to drive there just for practices and stuff. And I had my first couple of amateur fights underneath him. So I've learned a lot from him whenever I was first starting, and met Jones, a good gentleman at the time, and he started his own place after I already left. It's just I just know that he has a family. I know that he's real tired with his family. He does a lot for his kids and his wife and stuff. And it just sucks to see that he chose to do this. It's just not a good move, man.
And does it almost offend you a little bit seeing what happened? Because it does hit at the legitimacy of MMA and the UFC a little bit.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That was just two stupid people doing dumb thing. There's no way. Like, you look at the fighter. I've never met one guy on my team or anywhere around me that like enjoys to lose. The embarrassment of losing in front of millions of people like that, it doesn't sit well with most people. So I think that Derek doing what he did was he was probably hurt. He probably understands that he's not the best fighter. He's probably not going to make, however much money he made off that. Like, he's probably not going to make that in MMA. So it was probably actually a really smart move for him to try to get away with something like that, which is really stupid. But at the end of the day, it's like you gotta provide for your family. You gotta do whatever it takes. And I think that they're probably in a bad position, maybe a desperate position. I don't really know their financial things. I don't know where they come from or what they have, but I would have to think that neither one of them were that stupid to risk that much, and I think they just slipped up and messed up.
Fair enough. And then just, switching gears, my final question, Damon Jackson versus Danny Ige, January 14th. Give me your official prediction.
Oh, I'm coming heavy, man. I know he's coming heavy too. I'm coming at him hard, and I'm looking for a finish. I know he's never been finished, but that's something that I'm always looking for finishes, because you see these decisions when they come out. You don't know judges, you don't know refs, you don't know like what they're gonna do. So you got to make sure you go out there and control the fight. That finish. That's what I'm looking for.
Fair enough. And guys, Damon Jackson returns to action when the UFC returns on January 14th. Damon, thank you so much for taking the time.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKickMMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.